I first came across Alcoholics Anonymous and the Big Book and such as a student, as a psychology student. I had to learn about it, and I had to, and I had been a teetotaler, never, most of my life, and there was a point in my mid-20s, I was going through a real crisis, and I had run out of books to read, and I found myself reading through, some of the stories in this book about addiction, about people's stories. And what I realized is I'm like, man, I don't have, I'm not putting anything into my system, and I relate to this. Like these problems I relate to. And I've one of your messages that I've been seeing as I've been trolling you a little bit is you have this concept that the problems of addiction are a little bit more universal maybe than people think. And the solutions are not just the kind of, the solutions are good for people struggling with all sorts of issues.
That's so good what you just said. That gave me goosebumps, because that's my passion. That's my mission, is that everyone is an addict. To remove this label and this stigma, because so many people like myself, I had a hard time. I knew deep within that I had a problem. I knew I had a problem with chemicals, but especially back then. It's getting better. Praise God. It's getting better. But back then it was like leprosy. You didn't want to say you had mental health problems, or you didn't want to say you were a drug addict or an alcoholic, because automatically you think of the $2 needle junkie sitting underneath the bridge.
Right.
Well, today my message is the only difference between me and the man underneath the bridge, who I became. I had a very successful home builder, owned my own company for 20 years, and became this guy. And I realized that the only difference was one thing, and that was the bridge.